That's right. It's time for the Dog and Chicken Show. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a special edition of the Dog and Chicken Show. We are live on YouTube right now. As always, have to have a guest with me at all times. And of course, Dog doesn't like to go live, and it's middle of the week, and he's got a family and kids, blah, 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 blah. So without further ado, welcome, Phil.
We've all got kids and such, but all is fair in the world of love and podcasting. As if I need any introduction, Dog and Chicken Show, KOE Nation, I am your King of Extreme, the devilishly handsome outlaw himself, Phil KOE. Welcome one and all to our live stream as we delve into all the world of politics and the Democratic primary, amongst many other things.
Yeah, Biden's winning. Is Biden winning? Is that what's going on right now? Am I seeing things like Super Tuesday he pulled out, and now they announced Michigan early, Mississippi, Missouri. And now, so right now up for grabs is North Dakota, Idaho, and Washington. None of those, a lot of delegates except for Washington. There's 89, I believe, available in Washington. In Washington, I don't know if you believe everything you see on the news and on YouTube. That one's going to be super lefty.
Don't ever do that. Don't believe everything you see on the news, and my God, especially YouTube. But anywho, can proceed, sir.
Right. So
except for what you see here on the Dog and Chicken Show, on the other hand, what you will get here is nothing shy of the absolute gospel truth.
It is the gospel. Don't you forget it. I could see the possibility of Washington probably being more of a Bernie bro state. Like, he might have a chance to pull that one off, but Biden's running away with the lead here. Like, how much longer can Bernie survive if Biden keeps taking these out like this? Because we got Florida coming up next week, right? If Biden does well tonight and takes Florida, does Bernie stick around? Is it worth it?
I really don't see how he can maintain it one way or the other if he doesn't do spectacularly in Michigan, which it's already been called. He's got to do really well in Florida, but I just don't think there's enough states out there for Bernie. It's just there's no way for it to happen. Washington, you would think, would be Bernie bro country, but after Super Tuesday, the wind was just out of the sails. And Bernie himself said the nomination should go to whoever has the majority. So he actually boxed himself into a corner on that debate. So the DNC boxed him in, and he put himself in a trap.
Yeah. Didn't help everybody was against him. You know, there is no establishment though, right?
Oh, no, not at all, except for, all the times that there's clearly an establishment and everyone can see it with their own eyes. And, Epstein didn't kill himself. But anyways, go ahead.
And yes, Epstein.
I remember the first time we ever did a Dog and Chicken Show and you invited me on, you asked me, Phil, is there a conspiracy that you believe? And I was a little hesitant to get into it, but now, Chicken, without reservation, I'll say the Epstein didn't kill himself conspiracy.
Yeah, that's a whole nother show, brother.
Ball of wax, if you will. Hell. But getting back to somewhat more current events. Bernie, I just don't see how that campaign maintains itself. I wonder when he's going to drop out and what it's going to be like when he concedes. Because I made the point earlier that even though he's not going to get a majority, Bernie's voters are amongst the most dedicated Democrat voters at the end of the day. And I theorized that if they didn't nominate Bernie, I don't think the Democrats are going to win the House. I don't think they're going to hold the House majority. If they were to nominate Bernie, they'd definitely lose the presidency, but I think they would hold on to the House majority. that now that Biden's there, this is a big gamble. It's all in. They could lose the presidency, the Senate, and the House. They might gain some things. I really don't see Biden taking out Trump. He's really 3 gaps away from having the nomination wrestled from him by the DNC.
Yeah, the oh, didn't he call a guy today talking about Second Amendment rights? The guy was questioning him on his stance on things and called him out on a couple things. He call him a jackass or an asshole or something?
I thought he said something like "you're full of shit" or
Oh
something
yeah,
like
that's what it
that. Like,
was.
which I'll be honest, like this is him. This is him being a Johnny Come Lately. Yeah, Trump says something naughty, and people they rallied around him. I'll say a naughty word, maybe they'll get behind me. I mean, yeah, Trump said some stuff that was kind of hard to like. Oh, great, really, really. Trump said some naughty words, so now we can't have Western civilization. Great, great, that's wonderful. And so, but Biden, it just kind of feels like a Johnny Come Lately.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the coming late to the party with the naughty words and all that because you're right, but I want to take this back to Obama. I
Oh,
was
is it?
I fell into the horrible trap and world that is the Facebook video feeds that just flip you through, just like holy crap. And it was going from Turning Point USA and Charlie Kirk, which is very right wing, and uh, one path to go down. Then all of a sudden you get this now this, which is super lefty, and it's exact opposite. And there's just flipping back and forth between them, and my head just started hurting so bad. But the weird part was they're like only if the media would see what Fox News is doing today, and it just showed like clips of Fox News calling out Obama on everything. And I'm like, okay, fair, yeah, they did some of that, but then one of the things they said on there was it showed a clip of Fox News calling out Obama as being the first president that ever criticized his predecessor the way he did, the first president that ever called out a news station individually on bias and how he didn't like them. He was the first, like, in I was like, wait a minute, like, so Obama opened the door for Trump to do this. That's how I took it. I'm like, thanks now this for yeah, giving me some
Oh,
more ammo with your video.
Obama set the stage for a lot of things that Trump has now seized upon. I said during the Obama presidency to quite a few Obama supporters, and it was mostly over the Anwar al-Awlaki issue that the president had drone striked an American citizen that was not aware of charges brought against him. So in this instance, a president of the United States named himself judge, jury, and executioner of an American citizen unaware of even any charges brought against him. Now, Anwar al-Awlaki was a very bad man. He was a horrible person, but we do not execute justice like that in America, and that is what sets us apart from anyone that we would perceive as our enemies. And now I wonder if those people on the far left suddenly had a come to Jesus moment, that maybe this was a bit too much power to give to a president. Now that someone like Donald Trump holds the presidency of the United States, I just wonder if any of them ever, like you said, yes, Trump has very much seized upon the imperial presidency that was brought on by Barack Obama.
Yeah. Now I just found it fascinating that they in a video where they try to make a point about how things are hypocritical, they're being hypocrites. So it goes full cycle, and I'm sure they were hypocrites before that. I'm sure it just keeps going down a dark hole prior to
It's
that.
the
It
it's the
happened with
strange. Oh, go ahead.
no,
It's
I'm sure it happened with Bush too. I don't know. I probably didn't care as much then or had media access like we do today.
Well, it's the strange thing about the political class we have here in America. If it wasn't for their double standards, they'd have no standards at all. Hey!
Yeah.
But
Good
yeah, I've
stuff.
always noticed people, like, especially those on the far left, they like to divide people into these different classes. But there's always this one class that they leave off, and that's the political class. Like they are the people vaunted high above us mere mortals. So I always wonder why they're never a part of that calculus that you hear when you hear about the class struggles and the class warfares.
Yeah, I don't know. I was watching. I was watching a little bit of CNN. Been flipping through them all today, kind of watching as everything's unwinding with votes and whatnot. One thing I found really interesting is CNN brought on Andrew Yang, and Andrew Yang has now endorsed Joe Biden, and they got this panel of 10 people, and every one of them are hardcore go Joe Biden's, like every one of them. And then they bring Andrew Yang on as, another person to go, yeah, go Biden. While all of them are sitting there, you know, pandering to each other and making them all feel warm and fuzzies, it gets to Andrew Yang and he goes, I just want to remind all you guys that you need to be thinking about this differently. He goes, I am endorsing Biden. I do want Biden to win, but 40%, 47% of my voters were people that would not normally vote Democrat that just don't want Trump. You better hope you get some of those folks because those are the voters that are going to put you over. And doing this and having this conversation is not going to do that because he was an elitist and he's got this little feeling towards him of, you've been in power for so long, you know how to do this better than everybody, was the gist of it. I'm paraphrasing, of course. But be careful because people don't like the establishment candidate because they're elitists. They really are. And they're just going to keep doing the same crap they've always done. And that's what people don't want. So I thought Andrew Yang made a really good point. And the rest of the panel, the other 9 were like, can we go to commercial now? Like you can see the
Yeah.
look on their face.
Yeah, that's kind of fascinating. I mean, Andrew Yang did run against Joe Biden. I mean, you should really compliment Andrew Yang for not just saying Joe Biden's a fucking asshole. Yeah, like, but this evening I'm drinking some just tea this evening, sir. What are you getting into?
Oh, I had to
Purely
reach.
raspberry. I'm not being paid by these people, trust me. But
Yeah,
it's some of my
it'd be
favorites.
nice. Pepsi Cola owns that, so that'd be a nice little payday there. I got some Basil Hayden's. You can pick this up at most local liquor stores. It's not a very popular brand. I've had a little bit of it already tonight. Had a couple of drinks out of here, but it's kind of a cool bottle. It's actually got this like wood banding around there, and it's actually got this little metal like labeling. um it's not bad. So it's got kind of a cool story. It's a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. Talks about Basil Hayden Sr. was who this is named after. In 1796, he was 4 years old when George Washington was president, and they tried to make it in the same way and care that they did in the early settlers' day. So it's the original family recipe that they continue to do. So I don't know, true or not true, who cares? It's a cool story either way. um yeah, it's not a bad, it's not a really, it's not a bad bourbon. Like, it's okay. It's about $35 a bottle, so not super expensive. It
Hmm.
is probably a little bit better than your normal run of the mills Jack Daniels in some of those other $25 to $30 brands. um I just like it because of the bottle. I thought the bottle was kind of cool. I'm not a big fan of this paper thing on here. I do like the little wood branding with the metal strap on there, but I don't know. It was worth it.
Nice. What how do you grade it, sir?
So for a bourbon, I'd probably give it a 3. For brown liquor, I'd probably, because I you can mix this thing just like anything else. It's pretty wide. It doesn't stand out. That's probably why
Hmm.
I'd give it the 3 on the bourbon. It's pretty plain Jane for most bourbons. It's not very high end. For a brown, I'd say, yeah, 3 and a quarter maybe. It's pretty flexible. You can do a lot with it. And then probably middle shelf just because the bottle's cool. It's kind of like that.
Nice.
It's kind of like that Skull vodka that we both have. Like, I don't even know what it tastes like, and I don't really care what it tastes like. It's such a cool fucking bottle. It's gonna be on my middle or top shelf depending on how it tastes. So it already got elevated just because that bottle's badass.
Now, I was kind of formulating this in my mind while you were talking about this whiskey, which I do want to try that sometime. So, but this suddenly occurred to me when you're talking about Yang, his voters are people that just don't want Trump. And Joe Biden is seen as one of those Mandarin bureaucrats that's just been part of the system so long. You're going to see an amazing thing this election cycle. You're going to see Donald Trump, for the first time in American history, an incumbent president is going to run as a Washington outsider and pull it off.
Yeah.
You're going to fucking hate me when you see this, but you're going to see the most amazing thing of all time, because the establishment forces have been arrayed against him so much that he will be able to, for the first time in American history, as an American presidential incumbent, run as a Washington outsider, and experts for the next 150 years are going to wonder how the fuck he pulled that off.
Yeah. It's interesting because I guess before we get too deep into that, because I got a lot of thoughts on that. We can get down to a rabbit hole and maybe a couple conspiracies we can run into.
I'm liking the sound of all that.
Is Biden a lock right now, do you think? Is he the nominee at this point? Especially if he has a good turnout tonight and wins Florida. Is that it? Can we call it for him at that point?
I don't see how Bernie Sanders contests the convention at that point. I mean, he technically doesn't have the numbers to have the actual plurality, but he will have a clear majority. Not only that, but I'm sticking with my prediction. I think it's very likely that Kamala Harris is going to be the vice presidential candidate. I would, not only am I, if I had to bet the house, I would put it on the Democratic nominee being Joe Biden. And not only that, Joe Biden said that his vice presidential candidate will be a woman of color. I say it is much more likely that it will be Kamala Harris than it will ever be Stacey Abrams. There's some people say it'll be Stacey Abrams. No, will not be. Nope. It will be Kamala Harris.
Fair enough.
That is my, and if that's the case, Chicken, I'm gonna take a half a gold star for that one. Yep. I don't care. I'm taking half a gold star on that one. I predicted Kamala Harris would be the nominee, and she kind of, sort of will be on the ticket. So I'm taking it.
Well, so I got it pulled up here and sharing my screen. So here's where we're sitting at as of about 10:15 tonight. So Biden takes Missouri. So he'll take a chunk of those 68 delegates.
Bernie
did right?
So well in Missouri last time around when he ran against Hillary Clinton. Do you remember what he got? Oh, Jesus. I think he only got like 14% of the vote in Missouri.
Yeah, and that's what it looks like in Mississippi right now. He's only got 15%. Biden's going to take that one pretty handily. The big one,
the South will slaughter Bernie in a general.
Yeah, the big one is Michigan. That could be a battleground state for whoever the candidate is against Trump. But Biden handily taking that one with over 50%. Now we're waiting on North Dakota, which not a lot of people there, but not a lot of votes turned in yet. So that one, no way you can call anything there yet. Idaho started off really, really heavy Bernie, and Biden has jumped back out. But again, not super populated, only 20 delegates. Biden's back in the lead with 46% against Bernie's 35. The big one that's left is Washington. As we said earlier, 89 delegates available. And we are neck and neck with about 60% of the count in. It is 33.1 to Biden and 32.5 to Sanders. So that one's gonna be close. And the fact that it's that close, even if Biden doesn't take it, if he loses it by 2%, I still think he wins. Like, because he's gonna take a chunk of those delegates, and that's Bernie bro country, isn't it? Am I wrong there?
Yeah. like I said, Super Tuesday was the day the Democrats sobered up, and it looks like they're finally consolidating around the old establishment candidate. Now, you got to understand, like, all right, Biden in the Democratic primary won Missouri, Mississippi, Idaho. Good for you. That's Trump country. He's going to win every single one of those states. So, with some of the Bernie bros that I do talk with, they are pissed that Bernie's nomination is being taken from him from the same parts of the country that the Electoral College took as they perceive it, the presidency from Hillary Clinton. It's the same stretch of country, Trump country, that's also robbing Bernie of the nomination. So, boy, I am not sure what the political fallout's going to be for that, but I see future generations being a little more skeptical of our standard districting, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm pretty skeptical of any of it these days, but so yeah, I don't know. We'll see how tonight turns out. It's I really think they've pushed Bernie out. They've done what they can. Um, Hillary had her new documentary came out that was just bashing Bernie. That came out on Hulu, where she's pretty much I saw it all over the news, but she's like nobody likes him. He's been in Congress this whole time and never did anything. He's never had a job. He's never done anything. Like she pretty much like without saying it, she was pretty much like he's cringy. Like everything about Bernie is just cringe. I was like, ooh shit. Like she was pretty rough on him.
From the very small bit that I saw, this is the impression I got. Hi, Internet. I'm Hillary Clinton, and I just wanted to take this moment to tell you that Bernie Sanders is a piece of shit. Fuck him. That was kind of what I got from it.
Yeah, I likened it, and here we go. I'm going to take this back to people opening doors for it. Would she have stated that publicly 8 years ago or 12 years ago? Since Trump's been around, would she have said that before Trump? Because Trump is so vocal and just says what the hell he thinks about some of these people. Now everybody's like, hey, you know what? You know, would you call it a too lateism?
Well, you also got to realize anything before Trump, she had some very defined political ambitions, and everything that she would do in her life would be centered around achieving those political ambitions. And then when Trump came along and basically vaporized those, now she can kind of say what she wants. So we'll see where that goes. But I think now that Bernie's kind of safely out of power, or out of striking distance, if you will. He's out of striking distance from the ring of power. I think that was the documentary you mentioned would have been like the most promoted thing you would have ever seen on all the planet Earth if Bernie was actually close to securing the nomination. It would be on CBS, it would be on NBC, it would be on every fucking channel about like Bernie, wow, and just like him in like red evil light. And that would have been all we would have seen for the next 2 weeks is documentaries made by Hillary Clinton about how evil Bernie Sanders is. But now that he's out of striking distance, it's just kind of a neat little internet thing. But you can tell she was queuing this up just in case.
Yeah, I don't know. I found it fascinating how they all, like every corner of the earth when it comes to the establishment was there before Super Tuesday and just kicking him while he's down, just making sure we don't want this guy getting back up. Like, it's just like it was fascinating to watch. Everybody says that the left's going to eat themselves alive, but man, it almost got vicious. It almost got to the point where I was like, Clinton's getting involved. I worry about Bernie. He's going to have a car accident or something, like not inciting anything, and just saying, the Clintons are up to no good.
I don't know what all you're implying, sir. The Clintons,
I think everybody knows what I'm saying.
Those boy and girl scouts, the Clintons, them. We sheesh.
Jeez.
those Boy Scouts would never let anything untoward happen.
Oh God.
So yeah, I understand what you're saying, but Bernie, man, this is a fascinating thing I've noticed. Americans don't like a cheat in what they view of somebody getting cheated. The American right has no sympathy for any view that Bernie Sanders espouses. But you even see people pretty far right saying, wow, Bernie's getting cheated.
Yeah.
And it's a fascinating thing.
The fascinating part of that is that crap I was watching on CNN earlier with Andrew Yang. Is every one of them on there was like, oh yeah, this was like the most legit primary season in caucuses we've ever had. This was the most fair it's ever been. And all I can think of is that fucking coin flip in Iowa going, what are you talking about? And then all the like just crushing Tulsi right out of the bat. I'm like, how is this the most fair? Like you let Bloomberg get in there just because he paid his way. By the way, that was another funny meme. Sidetrack. Supposedly Russia paid $100,000 in ads on Facebook and crap to get Trump elected, but Bloomberg spent $600 million and couldn't win a primary.
Hey now, American Samoa, that was important.
Oh, okay, how about a major primary?
Like, I didn't even know they had a primary until
I know. I learned a lot about America Samoa.
I'm a political junkie, and I was like, okay, I know that they don't get a vote in the House of Representatives and in the Senate, but wait, so they get a vote in the primary? Like, this was educational for me as much as it was for you in that instance, dog and chicken show audience. But yeah, this is when you go back to that coin flip, I'm thinking, man, I just don't see the Democrats taking it. If you're telling me that the candidacy on your side of the party was so delicate one way or another that a coin flip would have actually changed the course of events of all history, that is such a weak moment, such a weak movement that I don't see how you can overcome an incumbent presidency that's got vast swaths of the nation
not just any coin flip. It was the okay, hold it sideways, let's feel it and put it under, and then let's flip it, and then we'll yep. It was Buttigieg. Like, it was that coin flip. And I'm like, how the hell are you calling this the most fair primary and caucus season and in election time that you've had in the Democratic Party, when all I can think of is all the people who were getting screwed over in this whole thing from the start and being silenced and not allowed on stage. And I get it. At a certain point, you got to put up some parameters and slow this, slow the shit show down. But man, like, they're still not giving Tulsi. Like, I get it. Tulsi's done. She's not going to win. She's just in it for attention now, or a nice seat somewhere. But she's like super progressive, and they still are ignoring her. I don't understand it. Like, that's what they want, right? They want the super progressive, and she's like, "Look at me, look at me. I'm everything you ever wanted, except for the war thing. Apparently, you like to kill people now and go to war, but otherwise, look at me. I have everything you want."
Not good enough, Tulsi, for some reason.
Yeah. But, well, if you don't want to go to war, you can't make us money. So we're done.
Well, that is, in my opinion, I could be wrong on this, but in my opinion, one of the primary reasons Mitt Romney did not win his bid for presidency in 2012 was because the Republicans were seen as gaming their own system. Once you're seen as having to cheat in your own primary, that is such a weak front to be coming on. Your own movement, your own base isn't behind you fully. Actually, in 2008, I'll be perfectly honest, I wrote in Ron Paul. I did not vote for the Republican candidate in 2008. So I could not get behind John McCain. I'm also very big into mixed martial arts. At the time, I was training in mixed martial arts, and I couldn't in good conscience vote for a man who did so much to try to destroy that sport.
Oh yeah, he hated, like, the UFC was just starting to get really popular. He was a dick about it. Talk about a stick in the mud.
It's more than that, chicken. I don't know if you realize this, but there was a a bit of a nefarious reason behind why John McCain advocated so heavily against mixed martial
Well,
arts.
wasn't he big into boxing? Like he had a lot of
Um,
money in boxing, didn't he?
yes, not only that, his wife at the time sat on the board for Anheuser-Busch, which was a very large advertiser on boxing. And so now you understood why John McCain had such animus towards the sport of mixed martial arts.
Yeah, yeah. You know, Anheuser-Busch is like, hey man, slow that shit down. Like you're gonna take some sponsorships away from my people, and here's a little money to keep them at bay. Keep them out of New York. I want Madison Square Garden. Like they're getting
which
big, just don't get them in New York.
which I don't, in the end of the day, I don't understand, because mixed martial arts ended up being a very big sales and advertiser for beer and Anheuser-Busch at different points.
Well,
So,
not only that, it's helped make boxing relevant again. Like people actually care about boxing again as you get the Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor fight, and besides that, there's only the heavyweights have all of a sudden come back up. But other than that, nobody's given a shit about boxing in years.
what I do like about the current boxing scene, especially because, in my opinion, like in every fight sport, whatever it is, yeah, the other champions are nice, but the world heavyweight champion, that's the one that everybody cares about. I like the fact
Tyson
that
Fury.
I like,
Sorry.
yes, Tyson Fury, because they are testing athletes so thoroughly now. The best in the world are people like Daniel Cormier and Tyson Fury. They got kind of a dad bod, but there's a stocky thickness to them. And in my time in mixed martial arts and in training, I did encounter one guy that was straight up, he was on steroids. He was juicing himself. And I had a hell of a time keeping up with that guy. He kicked like a mule. He punched like it was a brick shit house. And it was really hard to make any grappling move work with him. And so I can see why, now that we're in a level playing field, the dad bods are finally having their day.
Yes, go dad buds. Cheers, dad buds.
Woo! Dad bods.
So don't want to make this all about Biden. I guess that's the title of the episode, but I did
There,
watch a 7-minute running video of all of his gaffes just in the last year.
oh
It
man.
was painful. It was super
And they were
painful.
able to condense it into 7 minutes. That's a
It was
pretty
just the last
impressive effort.
year, and they were the egregious ones.
I
Like,
know. If it was within the last month, I'd still be shocked that it's only 7 minutes.
yeah, I don't know. To be fair, the latest, well, not the latest one, the one from yesterday, was well, it might have been for a couple days ago. It was when he pretty much endorsed Trump on accident. That was taken out of context.
But
Somebody
that
cut a
shit's fucking
video.
hilarious. I'm sorry. It was fucking hilarious. I saw it. I laughed my ass off. Like, you know what, Joe Biden? I agree. You should go out and vote for Donald Trump, just like you said. But he was
Yeah,
also the one. I remember when he told everyone to go out and buy a shotgun. I had to think, because I had a lot of people I chatted with online that were from overseas and like from Britain and other places. Like, that had to be the strangest thing to hear from somebody overseas. Like, hey, Americans, don't go out and buy that gun. That's not, you need to go out and buy that gun. Do you see? Like, if you're from across the pond, American politics, and he's the Democrat. Okay, American politics has to look like kind of an odd thing.
yeah, we gotta look crazy as fuck. The the good stuff with that Trump video, where Trump posted it and it was taken out of context. They cut it early. He actually said something afterwards to be totally truthful and honest. However, the weird part about it, and I think Tim Pool, shout out, he really exposed this to me because I really wasn't aware of how Trump had or how Biden had launched his campaign. He launched it with an out of context video about Trump doing the exact same thing. Like he did the exact same thing. He cut a video up and to make Trump look like an ass, and that's how he launched his campaign. The difference of it and the hypocrisy of it, it goes back to how social media and corporate or big tech handles this, and that'll take us down to the first rabbit hole of conspiracies, I guess. But they have blocked the video that Trump had put up on Twitter saying that I'm trying to remember the exact term, but they're pretty much, it's a fake news claim. Um, but they didn't take down anything Biden did when he launched his campaign, which was the exact same thing. He did the exact same thing that the Trump video did, but Biden's videos are still up. And so it gets to that fact of Twitter is censoring right-wing politics at a higher rate than it is left-wing. Not saying they don't, you know, block or do anything both ways, but it is far more on the right side. You see this again. Carlos Maza. Do you remember who that is?
Oh God, yes. Pretty much the worst person to ever be associated with the Vox brand.
Yeah.
Not Fox, but VOX.
Yeah.
Vox.
Vox. VOX.
He basically threw a conniption fit because Steven Crowder said some mean things to him. And because of his, I don't know how, his petulant whining to the administrators, he got all of these YouTubers demonetized. Like, for political YouTube, he's basically persona non grata.
Well, yeah, and in any YouTuber, and this is, Dog and Chicken Show's only been around less than a year. Phil, you and Tony been doing Revolutionary Wrestling podcast around a year more.
Oh, we've been doing it for 3 years. Royal nice. Rumble this last January was the third Royal Rumble we've reviewed.
So the ones that have been around for a while making a lot of money, they hate this guy because he ruined YouTube for a lot of folks that were making bank. It was a money machine for a lot of people. He ruined YouTube for a lot of people on that. So nobody likes him. Now he's joined the platform. But that aside, the point of why I'm bringing him up is he spouted all of his content was, don't trust rich people, don't follow Republicans, and don't do this, don't do that. But everything went back to rich people telling you what to do. Rich people are bad. Rich people are the devil. Come to find out, his parents are millionaires.
Yeah, he has a voting, like, what was it? His voter registration is at a house that's worth well over $20 million. So yeah. He's one of those champagne socialists who talks about how we know what's best for the tiny little huddled masses, that they can't even manage themselves, but us, the high vaunted intellectuals, will tell you little people how you need to live.
So that brings me to my final point and where we can go with this conspiracy theory. And of course, this is big tech and how this is going to come together this year. Who was the guy that testified that big tech could sway 15 million votes in 2020? Do you remember who that was? It was Robert. It was another one of those Weinsteins. There's so many of them. They all sound the same. And you feel bad if you get one of them wrong, because then they're Harvey's friends, and they're not. But we're not going down that.
I can't remember the name. Sorry.
So I'll find his name, but he testified. I think it was Ted Cruz had actually interviewed him, and he stated, with the capabilities they had at that time, he predicted that Facebook, Google, the big tech companies, if they all are going to the same candidate, they could sway at least 15 million votes to the candidate of their choice with their directed, the shadow banning that they're doing, the ads that they pop up, the get out the vote ads that they did on Facebook. You can direct all of this in one direction to sway a presidential election. Now, there's two ways you can look at this. If they really want Trump out of office, they're going to try to sway that vote, and they're going to try to do it quietly and secretly. However, I don't think that's the move that they're going to take, because CNN is making a shit ton of money off of Trump. All of them are, because Trump is the news is wet dream. We thought gaffes from prior presidents or impeachment of Clinton, and some of those were like ratings generating presidents. Trump just talks. He doesn't have to do anything. He just talks and he generates massive ratings, and then they can sit and bitch about him all day. It gives them all something to do. It's a money making machine. So the question I pose, will they use the power to get rid of him or to keep him in, or do they back off and just let things happen? Because I think most of us agree that most elections are bullshit. Somebody's already picked. But now big tech's involved in this. So I think they get to pick at this point. Your thoughts?
My response to that would be, what makes you imagine that big tech has not already been involved to those levels?
They swayed what 3 to 5 million votes for Hillary last time.
And
That was
that's just,
Facebook. That was Google alone. Google alone did 3 to 5 million votes to Hillary.
I understand, and we're talking the last election. I'm just talking every election since the year 2000. What makes you think they haven't? I would actually be more shocked if we were to do the true research, somehow get all the documents, and we were to find out that they weren't. That would actually be much more surprising to me, that they weren't interfering in our elections blatantly in some way. So I understand what you're saying. Are they going to use it? My question is absolutely. What will the tech Illuminati do with the newfound power that they have found, chicken? Whatever they can.
Yeah. It was Robert Epstein. It was just a different last name that I was afraid to say. That's what it was.
Is he going to not kill himself?
Well,
we hope not.
He called out big tech and called him out, and like,
he's fucked.
Yeah, I don't know.
Stay in your bunker, Robert. Stay in your bunker.
We support you, Robert. Welcome anytime.
Please do come on the podcast. It'd actually be a pretty awesome time.
Yeah. No, like, so you don't think that you think that they already own it? Which way do you think they're going to sway it then?
When you're telling us stuff like, well, they already say they moved it like 3 million, they're kind of priming us for the idea that we need to be ready for the tech giants, the tech Illuminati, as I like to call them, more or less dictating our elections to us, letting us know what we get to know. Like, that's where I see it. And which way will they try to sway it, and whichever way best suits their interests, clearly. Like, that's now Trump might be what best suits their interests. How many outrage clicks has YouTube and Google and Twitter and all of the media giants that are online, how many clicks can they attribute to the outrage porn that they've pumped out thanks to President Trump?
And the outrage porn comes back into play. How about, God damn it.
Well, unfortunately, that is when you turn on MSNBC, when you turn on certain segments of CNN, there is
the Young Turks.
Yeah, the Young Turks from beginning to end, every video they put out for the last
We've been
7
shitting
years.
on the Young Turks a lot lately. I think it's well-deserved, though.
Sometimes there's places that deserve to be shit on. And there's the Young Turks happen to be one. During the Bush years, they appeared to be somebody that was speaking truth to power. And then when Obama got elected, their anti-war stance vaporized. And then suddenly Trump comes back, and more or less when Bernie ran, they just became Bernie's unofficial propaganda wing. And so it's kind of tough for me to take them seriously as anything other than that.
Fair enough. Quick update. Washington. Yeah. Washington, Biden is catching up. It is now 32.7 to Sanders and 32.6 to Biden. So neck and neck, even closer. That is with 68% in. Idaho, Biden is pulling away 45.2 to Bernie's 35.9. That's with 34% of the vote in. And in North Dakota, it's really cold up there, folks. Give them some time because they are 0% turned in. We got a whopping 1,300 votes. Give them some time. They'll get around to it.
1,300 votes turned in, and and how much is that? What percentage was that again?
It's 0.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say like 1,300 votes count in North Dakota. That might be like 36% of precincts. Reported in.
It's not. I mean, it's yeah.
It's yeah. Well, yeah. If those are the rural precincts,
it's the thing.
We had precincts in Texas that had 2 Democrat votes in the entire fucking precinct in the Democrat primary here. So
yeah,
I could see North Dakota having about similar numbers to that in some spots, but at the same time, you never know with that one. I mean, I was going to say South Dakota, but different one. But yeah, South Dakota gave us Tom Daschle, so you never know what can happen with them Dakotas. Crazy Dakotas.
Yeah, them crazy Dakotas.
But hey, North Dakota, we do appreciate the fact that you actually do have a state bank. That shit's awesome.
Yeah.
Monetary policy for the win, yo.
For the win, yo. How about
not a compliment I don't think they would ever expect to hear.
I know, right? I had to throw them off a little bit. How about the latest developments with coronavirus? And do you know where I'm going with this?
Well,
you can take a fucking guess. I bet you know.
Of some Republicans at CPAC, is that the direction you're going with it?
Yeah, and how high does that reach? And you see what the media is trying to do with it.
Oh, absolutely. They're trying to make it Trump. Is Trump infected? Trump's not prepared for this. It's like, it's a flu. I understand. But the fact that I can understand, like, Trump's a germaphobe, so he doesn't really like shake a lot of hands. I've heard some people call for like, we need to stop political rallies entirely. I could see why some people would say that. There is kind of a strange disconnect. Here in the United States, we're still holding major events. We're still traveling about. If you've been paying attention, chicken, within the last 12 hours, they have put Italy on lockdown. The entire country. At first, it was northern Italy, and now the entire country, coast to coast in Italy, complete fucking lockdown of the entire country to stop the spread of coronavirus. That was one that I went, like, because I've been pretty, it's a flu, it's got to catch a name. That was one that made me go, huh, okay, yeah. Damn. So that's either a really skittish government response, or there's things they're not telling us one way or the other. But this is my actual marker. My actual marker is if they cancel WrestleMania, then I know shit's on. Then I know that shit's real. Shit, man. If they cancel WrestleMania, Vince McMahon will fucking have that show on if the fucking gates of hell have opened right outside the arena. He will still pack that thing and make that show go. So if they cancel that over this coronavirus, because governments are going to have skittish overreactions. This is an entertainment venue on its most money-making night of the year. If they fucking cancel, shit's up.
Yeah, I seen they canceled the in-house folks for the Democratic debate. They're gonna just have them debate on TV now, I guess, without an audience. I don't know. It's weird. Now they're talking if they're gonna stand up or sit down because apparently Joe Biden's tired. So he's got to sit down for this one. Too much energy standing up.
Well, let's also not forget Bernie Sanders just had a heart attack.
Yeah, let's take care of these old guys. Trump's going to beat the shit out of them, right?
Like I said the last time around, Reagan, when he ran for the first time at 71, they said, you need to release your medical records. You're way too old for this. That man would be positively young. He'd be a spry 71-year-old jumping into this field.
Yeah, this is going to be a bloodbath. They're canceling all their rallies. I saw New York called in the National Guard for coronavirus. We had our first 5 cases come out today in South Dakota in Pierre, and then I cough right when I say that. Yeah, that's encouraging. Um, so yeah, it's making its rounds. It's getting out there. My wife asked us this weekend. I was taking her and the kid. We're gonna kind of take a little weekend getaway and go have some fun. And her dad's a little paranoid, and he's like, I don't think you should be doing that. I'm like, if you're gonna get it, you're gonna get it. And I'd rather we go have some fun while we can. Because if worst case scenario, if somebody tells us we have to fucking self quarantine, I'll be pissed if we didn't fucking go somewhere when we could. So tell your dad, shut the fuck up. We're going. Like,
now, here's the real problem, the real logistical breakdown problem that I see that could really potentially come from the coronavirus. Not going to be people dropping dead of this virus in particular, but think about the folks in Italy right now. There is nothing that you could really call Italian healthcare at the moment. The entire healthcare infrastructure is now centered around one virus and one contagion. If you break your leg or you dislocate your shoulder in Italy, what do?
Figure it out.
Yeah, that's
hope the internet still works. I could Google, I could get on WebMD and try to figure out how to fix it myself.
Yes, but the author Scott Adams pointed this out this morning, and I've been thinking like, that really would be, because everyone's going to be so freaked out about this. The entire medical infrastructure of certain areas will be dedicated to just this. And especially if we start to go into lockdowns, which, I'm a farmer. I don't see how that would be even logistically possible for me. I would just, if I was self-quarantined, I'd just be like, well, all right, I'm in a tractor alone out in the middle of a field. That would be my quarantine. But I think this is a flu. It's going to be bad, but man, I'm wondering, I don't know if I'll have to look them up. What are the Italian death numbers to justify a lockdown of an entire country?
Yeah, and I don't know that. I think it's a huge overreaction. I'm sure Italy had something extra going on. It was probably more the panic piece of it. Speak of the panic piece, what the fuck is with the toilet paper? Like, of all the things that people want to panic buy and treat it like it's Black Friday, it's goddamn toilet paper. That's what we're gonna fight over. That's what we're gonna treat it like it's Black Friday to trample each other over pallets of toilet paper. I don't understand the toilet paper thing. I kind of get the water. I kind of get the bleach and disinfectants because that stuff makes sense. You're fighting germs, but we didn't always have toilet paper, people.
Okay, according to 5 hours ago, now this is Al Jazeera, but take it for what it's worth. Coronavirus kills 4 people in Italy in a day, raising death toll to 631. So
how many in Italy's, a day you cut out there?
Coronavirus kills 168 more people in Italy in a day, raising death toll to 631. So those are the actual numbers, and Italy's not like the United States, where we're a very big country with hundreds of millions of people. Those are shocking numbers.
That's a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah. In a single
day. That's a small town in Nebraska, man.
In the town I'm sitting in, that's half our population. So I can see why that's a pretty big deal in Italy. God damn. There's another one okay. But still, I'm persisting. WrestleMania is my mark. When WrestleMania that hits and they're shutting that down, it's like, all right, attention, all Dog and Chicken Show listeners, all KOE Nation members, put on a fucking helmet. All right, get ready.
It's coming.
Yeah, that's the all right. We're in yellow alert. That's pretty bad. And there's red alert. And then as Ron White told his mom when it gets bad in terrorism alerts, all right, when it goes up to this, mama, just put on a fucking helmet. Just you just better wear a fucking helmet at that point, mama. So that's where I see it as, well, might have to put on a fucking helmet if they shut down WrestleMania. But that's my barometer. That's if that one goes on without a hitch. But man, 168 dead in a single day. So I'm wondering how much of that is, pardon me, how much of it is sweeping through like nursing homes, because that's where a lot of the deaths are coming from when they hit nursing homes. And the saddest part about this all is nursing homes across the country are now saying, don't go visit your elderly relatives. Like, dude.
So do I give them coronavirus, or are they going to die of a broken heart?
Yeah, like, Jesus, that's just ouch. Like, that gets me right in my feels. In case you don't know, folks,
you don't have feelings, Phil.
It's the feels is right between your heart and your Adam's apple. It's right here, that little bit of the feels. But gets me once in a while. But you're right. It's best to not. I don't have real feels. It's like Dumbo the elephant. He's not have feelings. They're made of rubber. But I think, man, because that's the problem. Is some of these viruses are very deadly to the elderly. That's one of the reasons why human species don't live like 120, 130 years. Like you get to 115 years and a cold takes you out.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part of our bodies here. I'm jumping on foxnews.com real quick, and the cover is burnout. Sanders skids as Biden claims big wins in Michigan and Missouri, building momentum toward party nod. So the entire, so what's happening tonight when you watch the news? It's really easy to watch and pay attention and see how they're doing this. So they're all pushing this to Biden. The establishment's pushing it to Biden. Apparently the Republicans and that establishment on the side of the Fox News media, because I think we all know that they are, it's the same thing. It's just the other side. They're all pushing this to Biden. What's the end game here? Does anybody in the world actually think Biden can win? I don't even think Biden thinks he can win. He's fucking telling people not to vote for him. Like, does he honestly think anybody? Like,
I think they're betting on Biden in conjunction with Buttigieg hiring out the tech Illuminati might be enough to push them over the top in Pennsylvania and Florida. That's what they're gambling on. Ohio's gone. Ohio is Republican country for the next 2 election cycles. I think Florida's going to stay with Trump. They desperately need Pennsylvania, and they need to hold on to Michigan. They need to take Wisconsin, and Trump might take Minnesota. That's a battleground state, but that's what they're thinking is maybe Joe Biden's name recognition. He's got enough of the Obama rub, plus Pete Buttigieg's tech Illuminati, and also the California good old boys club that Kamala Harris is going to bring along with her. The 3 of those combined will be enough to take out Donald Trump. That's what I think the overall general calculation is. Now, I wanted to touch on something here, Chicken. I pulled this up. We were talking about Joe Biden and his gaffes and such. You know who Jill Stein is, Dr. Jill Stein?
Oh yeah. Is she getting back in with the Green Party this year, or is she out?
I would imagine. I just kind of assume she's their perennial candidate.
She's the go-to. She's the Ralph Nader of today.
Well, it certainly seems like she's running, because this is what she just tweeted. March 10th, 2020. We deserve real choices, not a manufactured contest between hashtag Biden's cognitive decline and hashtag Trump's dangerous demagoguery. We have an incredibly momentous decision to make with huge consequences for human survival. Media must stop hiding reality of Biden's cognitive challenges from voters. Biden's team won't let him do interviews. He made 2 short teleprompter speeches in Missouri this weekend, and both generated massive gaffes that went viral. You can't beat Trump by trying to hide to avoid the issues of hashtag Biden's cognitive decline. How is this not a massive red flag? Now, Jill Biden is breaking the Goldwater rule. If
Yep.
you don't know what the Goldwater rule is, Barry Goldwater, when he was running for president, people in the American Psychiatric Association, just through their own pure politics, is kind of like imagine today's current hatred of Trump. Some psychiatrists said, oh, Barry Goldwater must be absolutely insane. There's no way he could think the things that he's saying are true. I'm just going to say he's insane. So after that campaign, the American Psychiatric Association made the Goldwater rule, which means you cannot make a diagnosis of a patient you have not personally examined. And so she's kind of breaking that, but at the same time, she is a trained medical doctor. She is a trained medical professional. And let's be frank, Chicken, I've said this once or twice about this subject. Do you really need a weather vane to tell you which way the wind is blowing?
No, you're right, and I agreed with probably the beginning and the end. What is she talking about there in the middle? Like I don't think it's a surprise to anybody that you know, Joe Biden's got some health issues and he's declining, and God knows where this is going to lead as we get closer to the election. But her middle part there, what the hell did she say? What's she implying?
Media must stop hiding reality of Biden's cognitive challenges from voters. That's pretty definitive there. That's not bullshitting your words at all. Man, this is tough, man. I mean, Biden, there's times when I watch him on stage and it's uncomfortable. And you pointed out there's times where he's got to fix his dentures, and it's
I was just watching him right before we're going live, and he's in mid sentence, and he goes and caught his teeth and started talking again. It was fucking like, no, I'm not trying to make fun of him, but it is weird to see on live TV. But it's like, I don't know how to feel about it. Like I have family members that had dentures early in their life, and they don't do that. You know, fixing it and forget, right? Like there's things out there to help you with this, but
I got some family that they just got toilet teeth put in. They literally just got the old teeth taken out and had new ones bolted into the skull. I don't know how that all went, but that's the route they went. So I understand, but yeah, and he did that once at another debate back before Super Tuesday. Like
he just turned around,
and then he just really quick caught it. And I know this because my grandpa had like the old school dentures when I was a very little boy. And one time he actually pulled them out and did that to me to, like, just kind of like being a funny little tease the grandkid with his dentures. And I remember when some new dental product came out, he basically got the toilet teeth put in too. But at one point I remember he actually pulled them out towards us. And so I've seen an old man have to catch his dentures firsthand. And so when I saw Biden do that, I was like, oh, damn. And that explains those perfect pearly whites in your 70s.
Yeah. So still no update from North Dakota as of 11 o'clock now. Being top of the hour, give you a quick update. Idaho, Biden still got a pretty commanding lead, almost 8% lead right now. He's at 46.6 against a 38.9. So Biden leading Sanders in Idaho. Again, that's only 20 delegates, not a big deal. Washington still neck and neck. Sanders is 32.7 against Biden 32.6. That is with 68, almost 69% of the vote in. Next update in 2, 1. See if it actually updates with any new numbers. Nope, looks pretty much exactly the same. So,
Well, North Dakota is going to take a little while because all the votes are counted by Becky, and Becky's got to get the kids to sleep. And once the kids are asleep, she can come back and count the votes.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I like Becky. She's a good lady.
She's great, but
she's been doing a good job for the last 250 years doing this for us. So
yeah, but she's got to get the kids to sleep, and then as soon as that's done, she can get back to the polling station and count the votes. People from North Dakota are like, fuck you, man.
Yeah, there's some lady in
that is hilarious.
There's some Becky in North Dakota going, thank you guys. Thanks for the appreciation. She's the only one that cared for that.
If there actually is some North Dakotan poll worker named Becky, that would be awesome.
That would be pretty awesome.
But so all that being said, call me crazy. Now, call me crazy. Now, chicken, I might be a little presumptuous here. I'm going to go ahead and call North Dakota for Biden. I know. I'm flying without a net here, but I'm just going to go ahead.
But Phil, there's only 1,300 votes turned in, and he's not winning those yet. And there's only like 1 million people in the state.
Yep. I'm just going to call me crazy. I just don't think North Dakota's going to vote for a commie. Yeah, I said it. Wash me in your judgment, Bernie Bros.
Dear God. So I'm sitting here. I got CNN over here on mute off to the side, and they're doing that whole like pick counties and change colors and what if and what if and what if and what if, and I'm like, oh, just stop.
It is always fun to watch the media types basically just get to play with a giant iPad. Like, I wonder when Apple's just going to come out with our own flat screen sized iPad so we can feel like we're Wolf Blitzer too.
Yeah.
Actually,
some of those are pretty cool.
So like, hey, welcome to the Dog and Chicken Show. Now that we got the giant iPad, we are literally as good as CNN now.
Yeah. Don't challenge me, Phil. I spend money on dumber shit. So,
I was about to say, you've probably spent more money on more bad decisions than that in life. So,
yeah. Yeah,
Bernie
for
Bros.
sure. Sure, I have. Jesus, Phil. God, now.
Now you're thinking back to all of them. Oh,
yeah.
Man. Like, now you're thinking back to, was there ever a single thing that I ever purchased off eBay that was ever truly necessary?
I never did go after eBay stuff. I was never big into that.
Okay, Amazon?
Yeah, I buy shit off. I'm not supposed to. They're my sworn enemy, and yeah, I still go with the home team first. And if the home team doesn't have it, then it's like, all right, I gotta fucking go to Amazon.
Yeah, that's a interesting business model. I used to buy books off of them back when they were just a book buyer. Now they've become the everything.
Yeah. I will say, not a single piece of any of my podcasting equipment came from Amazon, though. I bought all of it from somebody else, not my home team and not Amazon. It's been spread out, but I'm proud to say that Amazon did not support any of this.
I will say that no major corporation was paid in the commission of me getting my camera or microphone here because they were bought secondhand. They're basically, Tony didn't need this. He upgraded and didn't need any of this stuff anymore. So, hey, that's where I get my equipment from. Is I usually check the secondary market, if you will. But
so real quick, let's go back to the possibility of Trump having coronavirus. What if he did? What if he does? Or what if he was having symptoms? I tried to put myself into the president's shoes in this when I heard it on the news. What was it, last night they first started reporting this? And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, if I were Donald Trump and I was at CPAC and I did have contact with somebody who was infected, how would I handle it? I would probably do what he's doing right now because, one, I need to maintain calm, keep things going, There's no reason to panic, really. And anybody who's already around me, if they're infected, they're infected. It's not like you're spreading it. Like it's that group of people. Um, and they're probably with you all the time. You with the high level that you are, most of those fuckers are probably living with you most days of the week. I don't know all the details on that. I'm just making shit up as I go.
I'm going to,
But like
that's,
I would not tell anybody. I would not come out and say I'm going to quarantine myself as the president of the United States, because then what does that do? That means does he have to give power over to Mike Pence? Or no, but he was around Mike Pence, so then Mike Pence would have to give up power.
that's if the headline can be written with validity. Trump infected with coronavirus. If that headline can be written with truth, there is a 100% chance Donald Trump will lose his bid for re-election. No doubt in my mind. I will take every dollar that I have available to me and I will put it all in a Vegas line on Biden. If they can honestly say with true honesty, to the point where Trump himself admits, I am infected with coronavirus, he's done. Doesn't matter. He will not win re-election. I will put every dollar into it.
So would he have to temporarily give up power, even though, maybe he doesn't get sick? Like,
who knows?
maybe.
Who cares? The rest of the administration is just a fucking wheel around a shit show, and people are going to vote that out.
Yeah, that's a good point.
If Biden comes down with coronavirus, just the same, the Democrats will remove him as candidate. Like there's just, it's such a bad look politically. Like there's just, I don't see how you recover from it. So that's, I know, like as somebody who thinks Trump's got this in the bag, if it comes to fruition and that Trump actually has coronavirus and that can be written, doesn't, any word that comes out of his or any of his supporters' mouth will be moot. Won't matter. Will not matter. People do not vote based on logic. They will vote entirely on emotion. And
so will this become Donald Trump's, remember when everybody said Obama was a Muslim? Is this going to be Donald Trump's Muslim incident? There's going to be the conspiracy theory that he's got coronavirus and he just won't tell anybody.
Oh, the likelihood that there's going to be conspiracy theories that Donald Trump and every other major famous person has coronavirus is pretty much 100%. You can count on there's going to be conspiracy theories about this person or that person or some other person having coronavirus. Count on it. But actually being able to prove it, if it's verifiable, that's the big key. So even if Trump or Biden were to have it, which also, well, I'll get to that. But if Trump were to have it or anybody, they would be hopping him up on every healthy chemical you've ever heard of in your life. And he would be, getting up, making 2-minute speeches and then bringing him back down. And they would conceal it until he healed up. In terms of, it's also something you got to consider. The now taped interviews that they're going to do with Bernie and Biden with no audience. This does really help reduce the likelihood of there being an actual gaffe now, doesn't it? Does reduce the likelihood of Biden exposing himself with something that he shouldn't be saying, or some other odd behavior that's going to look horrible on camera.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, real quick, you were calling it. I'm popping in here and getting some updates on the news since CNN's really fucking slow. I went over to Fox real quick. And North Dakota with 13% in, Sanders is in the lead, 43-31.
Oh shit. Now has a major city reported in.
All two of them?
Yeah. All right. Now, Becky, remember when you're done counting all the votes, be sure to turn.
Becky didn't have the decimal in the right place.
So. I know, but I got to remind you, you forgot last time. Be sure to turn the light off.
Yeah.
I kid. We love you, North Dakota. But I think, Yeah, but you remember how Bernie had a massive lead in Texas, and then Biden came back and destroyed that too. So
Yeah.
I see Biden somehow, some way, through hook or crook, taking North Dakota. It's kind of like that campaign worker in Florida. I forget her name, but they really accused her of trying to game the system for the Democratic Party. And she would always be asking, well, how many votes is our Democratic candidate behind exactly? And for years, she would always be conveniently able to find just a few more votes for that candidate that happened to match whatever number they needed. So luckily, I'm not saying,
Right.
but I might be saying,
I think you're
or
saying.
am I? But
Let's take a quick look
am
here.
I?
Let's get an update.
I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know what's going on anymore. So here's a breakdown of Washington. So I'll back out real quick so it doesn't look so weird off the bat. So recapping where we're at right now. So Missouri going to Biden, Mississippi going to Biden, Michigan going to Biden. Now we have North Dakota. It finally updated on CNN's site, so they're getting somewhere. It looks like a whopping 2,500 votes in now, and that's 32%. Phil, does that make sense? We had 1,200 votes in before. Now we have double that, and now we're at 32%. CNN's juking the stats here,
I was
or
about to say,
Becky.
like, well,
Maybe
now
it's
you know why
Becky.
CNN didn't refresh because, like, well, all right, for about the next 20 minutes, this might seem like it's minorly pro Bernie. Let's hold off and wait till we get a little, get a few more votes in the back of that to, try and clean that up a bit.
Yeah. Well,
Look
and
at all
then
that reporting in.
when you zoom in, no counties declare anything, so we'll back out of that one.
I don't suspect.
Idaho shows Biden with a pretty strong lead, still almost 7% lead. When you zoom in, of course, Boise is the big one to pay attention to. They're neck and neck, Biden and Sanders. You think most of it's rural. Most of those will go to Biden being more of the mainstream. It's Sanders will win with the highly populated areas in most of these states. And that's where you get into Washington and you look Seattle. That's the battleground for Bernie right now, and it's close. It shouldn't be that close, but it's close. Is Gabbard still in this just to take that little edge off? Is that what's going on?
I could see it. But no, I don't know what Gabbard's in for at this point. I feel a lot of sympathy for her for the way the Democrats did her wrong, but there is a point when it's time to just I'm like there was a point where I said like okay if there's a contested convention whatever, but I don't even know what she's doing at this point. She's not pulling votes from anybody in any meaningful sense. She's doing herself a lot of political harm. It's lucky for her she's in a fairly safe district. I don't think she's going to get primaried out anytime soon. But
Is that a
man,
Hawaii thing? Like some people in Hawaii just don't know when to stop fighting. Like BJ Penn, like just stop,
ouch,
just stop.
ouch.
Quit while you're ahead. Like people
Or
still love you.
behind.
People still love you, BJ Penn. Stop fighting and stop getting knocked out. Well, you haven't been knocked out yet, but don't get knocked out. Like
You remember my prediction for the BJ Penn Clay Guida fight?
yes, god damn it.
I'm sorry, I'm bringing that one up. I said, and you can reference it on the Revolutionary Wrestling podcast. On our MMA roundup, I told you, folks, if you only have money to pay your bills, if you only have money to feed your loved ones, bet it all that BJ Penn goes down by decision. And how did BJ Penn go down, chicken?
Decision.
Thank you. I do promise to use my powers for good, not evil. But all that being said, Tulsi's got such a safe seat because she's, military, sort of, sort of not pro-war Democrat. So that's why I don't think she's going anywhere.
Fair enough. She probably should. I think it's time jump out, get while the
in
getting's
the
good.
presidential race, she should have gone weeks ago. But in terms of being in the Senate and just being part of our political consciousness for the next 15
Oh no, yeah,
years,
she's going to become a bigger voice down the road for sure. I don't know. She's one to keep an eye on down the road. She's so likable, but her policies suck. She's one you got to be careful. I think she's probably long term more dangerous than an AOC. Because like AOC had a lot of spunk to start with, but then everybody was like, "Oh, she's not very smart." So a lot of people turn the channel. They turn the channel on that, but then you turn it to a Tulsi channel. Tulsi says a lot of the same things, but she's smart, and that's dangerous.
Yeah, that can make a difference. Being smart. Yeah.
Sorry, AOC, you're dumb. You're dumber than a rock.
Ouch, ouch, ouch. But yeah, AOC, you're right. She came in with a lot of momentum, but AOC has learned if you're something the media has made, the media made you, the media can break you. And that process has begun. Remember the Squad? Oh my God, the Squad.
3 out of 4 of them investigated for finance fraud.
Yeah, I was about to say, what happened to them? They just all disappeared suddenly. So that's
one of them married her brother, supposedly, allegedly.
Ilhan Omar, yeah, allegedly. That's that one is gonna haunt her forever. She's never gonna shake that one.
It's that Presley one. She's the only one that's not in the news for being negative about shit. Like she's walking away going like, hope nobody sees me sneaking out the back door.
Nobody's seeing me, right? Okay, I'm out. But yeah, she's like, no, Squad who? What Squad? It's actually, Ilhan Omar. She's in another safety district. I don't see her getting voted out anytime soon.
She won't get voted out, but I was right to question AOC. Her district might just dissolve. And even if it doesn't, she's
her out of Congress.
Yeah, she might get gerrymandered out. And even if she doesn't, she has a whole bunch of people that are gonna push to oust her on the Democratic ticket. Like she's got Republican rivals, but she's got Democrats that are coming after her and don't want her, that are locals that are saying, you haven't done shit for us other than parade around on TV and make us all look like idiots in this district. So it sounds like she's got an uphill battle. And you heard it on the Dog and Chicken show months ago. I predicted AOC will not continue in her seat. I'm gonna hold true to that. I think either she's ousted by gerrymandering, or we get a new Democrat that rolls in and shocks the world and takes AOC out. That would be very exciting.
Chicken, I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that. And I'm not drinking any of this tonight, but I'm going to make a friendly wager. I'm gonna bet you my next bottle of Booker's bourbon that AOC wins her seat in re-election and stays in Congress one way or another. If I am wrong, I will buy you a bottle of Booker's.
How much is that bottle of Booker's?
$60.
Deal, sir. We got a virtual handshake.
Yep. All right. Virtual handshake. We got a bottle of Booker's on the line. So, all right. We'll see what happens on that one. Because not only is AOC going to stay in Congress, my prediction is either in 2024 or 2028, you will see her run for president.
Unfortunately, whether she's in Congress or not, I think you're right. She is going to run for president because what I see happening is if they gerrymander her out, which is a possibility. This could happen. She won't have a seat to run for. She'll have to run for another district. So then I would win that bet at that point, even if she does get to stay in Congress because she
Oh, no,
doesn't
no, no.
keep
The
her
bet
seat.
is if she stays in Congress, sir.
No, it was,
The
does she keep
stenographer
her
can read
seat?
back.
Does she keep her district? Does she keep her seat?
She stays in Congress one way or another through hook or crook.
See, that's where I might agree with you.
Well, if she has to run in a new district, you're still at a pretty powerful lead on you, sir.
Yeah, but it's AOC. She's got the name power. Like,
that's why I'm betting on her.
And Ilhan Omar might get removed from office if she, if evidence comes out. So
that wouldn't shock me, but I'm going to look into that one a little deeper before we do another bottle bet on her. But
yeah,
I also don't think she's going anywhere. It doesn't matter what you find on her.
I think Ilhan Omar is probably more likely to get removed than AOC. I think AOC is going to be a household name in America for a long time.
Yep, and that's why I'm betting on AOC one way or the other. But Ilhan, yes, she could be more easily removed, but that's again just grading on a scale because Ilhan's not going fucking anywhere. She's gonna be there. She's gonna be annoying us in the realm of American politics for the rest of our lives.
I hope not.
Oh God. But all right, we got our first wager tonight, a bottle of Booker's over AOC. I don't think she
and I'm stating my bet is for her to keep her current district. I don't think she'll keep her current district.
We'll work this out here a little later after the show.
All right.
The court stenographer can read back, sir, that I said she will stay in Congress one way or the other. So we'll let Tony be the final judge and arbiter on that. How's that?
Oh God, why is Tony got to be the judge?
Because it's more fun that way. But all that being said, any other controversies that you see in this year's election? Actually, here's the big one. Do you think the Republicans take back the House or the Democrats keep it?
Yeah, I think they do.
Which one?
I think you're going to see a red sweep. Honestly, I really do. Just with the attitudes that you're seeing. So, I listen to a broad spectrum of politics and political commentary across, and almost all of them that are sensible are coming to the same agreement that most Americans are showing that they are sick and tired of the left pushing the conspiracies and the Trump did this, Trump did that, Orange Man's bad. Everybody's tired of it. Everybody's sick of hearing about it. Even the guy that sits on the couch for the last 30 years that hasn't voted is going, shut the fuck up. Do I have to get up so you'll go out and vote so you'll shut the fuck up? And you're seeing it with record turnout on Trump votes right now in a primary that he's uncontested on. And people are coming out in droves to support him just to show, like, there's honestly people out there just saying, I just want everybody to show that we're not going to sit back and watch this and that these Democratic candidates are jackasses, which honestly, the two people, they picked the two oldest white guys. You couldn't get more whiter. We're a party of diversity. Like, I don't know what lies the Democrats have to tell themselves all the damn time, but they always pick an old white guy other than Obama. Like, Jesus Christ. I don't know. I do not see it going their way. This has been awful. The last 9 months, it's just been incredible that anybody is still calling themselves a Democrat proudly today. I don't understand how you can stand up and be like, yeah, go Joe Biden.
Bernie was the last reason, as much as I hate to say. Like, I don't agree with the man's policies, but Bernie was the last reason for someone to proudly and openly state themselves as a Democrat. He was also kind of a lifestyle choice for younger people. Like, if you were a younger person, you said, "Yeah, I'm into Bernie." That was kind of the safest social navigation of any given social setting.
Well, and I get a younger person being into Bernie because who doesn't want free healthcare, free college, and free shit? Most kids are like, oh yeah, I don't care where it comes from. I just want that. That's being naive. Most younger people are going to be naive and just automatically sign up for that. But as you get older, you get a little bit more educated and been like, oh, it's really not free. Somebody's got to pay for that.
I
Uh,
I forget who said this. It was a historian talking about the fall of the Roman Empire. And this applies to every democracy worldwide. The moment that the voters discover that they can vote themselves generous gifts from the public treasury, that process will not stop until the last bone of the last taxpayer has been picked bare.
it makes sense. Like, what did Reagan say? It was something along the lines of oh, communism will come in the form of liberalism. It'll come in disguise as liberalism, and the party will sneak it in with small demands and small little conjectures and little things to slowly eat away at you until you find it acceptable to deal with socialism. Um, some of those thoughts are fascinating of whether you think of like how did Nazi Germany. I'm not comparing Democrats to Nazis, just like I gotta put that out there first. But like I was listening to a podcast today. I had a 2.5 hour drive, and I think it was, oh god. So I got to preface this too. It was Peterson, so don't hate me, people.
He's
But
actually a very good intellectual. I think he's often maligned, and he has a lot of good and useful things to offer people.
he's fascinating to listen to. But he had brought up how Nazi Germany had taken normal everyday people like you and I and turned them into murderers. And how they did that was slow, methodical, and by their own decision. It wasn't forcing them to do anything, and it was almost like manipulating. So when they asked them to sign up originally and said, "Hey, here's the deal. Um, we're in wartime and you're gonna have to do some awful things. If you don't want to do it, you're free to walk away." Well, personal guilt and personal responsibility tells you, no, I'm gonna take care of my comrades. I'm gonna be with my buddies and I'm gonna make sure I got their back. That's what everybody would do. That's what most people would do. That's a conscious decision that we make with feelings, and it makes sense. Our brain and our feelings all of a sudden combine and say, "Yes, this is the right thing to do right now." And so the Nazis took that and they just kept step by step going a little further to where all of a sudden you're taking people out of homes and arresting them for no reason. Then all of a sudden you're caging them and tying them up, and then all of a sudden you're shooting them in the head, and then all of a sudden you're throwing them in the back of the truck, and then all of a sudden you're burning their bodies, and now we're putting them in concentration camps. Like, they just slowly built. And the whole time, the people that were doing all the atrocities on the sides of the Nazis, they hated what they were doing, but they were willing participants at the same time. But it was the propaganda and the slow building of letting them accept what they were doing was for the greater good, even though they kind of lost sight on what the greater good was. They were more looking out for their buddy who had the same thoughts and beliefs that they did, rather than actually looking out for the country. So, and that's why Germany fell as quick as it did, is because when all of a sudden they were like, holy shit, what are we doing? This country's fucked. They turned over arms really quick, and a lot of them surrendered really fast because they didn't like what they were doing. Because being inhumane is not something any of us want to do. We get tricked into doing it sometimes. We get manipulated into doing it, and the Nazis were masters of doing it. Um, and that's I again, I don't want to say that's what the Democrats are doing, but I see small little glimpses of similar strategies of how they try to manipulate people into, well, I can give you free college. I can give you free healthcare. Okay, that's where it starts. Then what do you do? Like when you have to pay for it, what are you going to take away from them? What rights do you take away? Because you have to pay for it somewhere. And that's, I guess, that's my point.
I'm
I-
curious. I mean, I understand what you're saying, and really, what you're talking about is operant conditioning. Is how could people be conditioned to do such horrible things? And the real glaring and horrible reality of it is: have you ever heard of a scientific experiment called the Milgram experiment?
Sounds familiar. I don't remember what it
The
is.
Milgram experiment was undergone. Oh, what year was it undergone? Let's see if I can in is described the research in the Journal of Abnormal and Social Psychology in 1963. The Milgram experiment was an experiment in which a subject would be sat in a chair and they would have an experimenter
Oh,
standing
is
over.
this where you had to hear him in the other room
Yes, and they
screaming?
would administer
Yes.
greater and greater and greater shock to what they thought was, it was an actor playing out how much the shock was harming them. And
Yeah,
they thought,
Radio Lab. For those just listening in, Radio Lab has a fascinating episode on this.
yep,
If
yep.
you want to learn more about it, check out Radio Lab and look that up.
But what happened was they suspected when they originally made the theorizing, well, okay, about maybe 1 to 3 people out of 100 will take the shock anywhere even close to 300 watts, and no one will do the 400-watt fatal shock. And the results were 65% of experiment participants administered the experiment's final massive 450-volt fatal shock. And all administered shocks up to level 300 based only on being given forceful orders. So it's the unfortunate reality, like Jordan Peterson said, the Nazis were people and we're all people. And that's something that makes us very uncomfortable to realize, is that we are panicky animals that can be led under the right circumstances. And the Milgram experiment really shows to the extent that that can be promulgated throughout our species. And so when you talk about these things of like, well, these people seem to be conditioned in this way, I always think back to like the Milgram's experiment, and it shows we all like to think of ourselves as the hero of our own story. In reality, there's a lot of people in this life that will, when the push comes to shove and the stress hits, they will do what they're told.
Yeah, that's a little dark, but you're right. We all do want to be the hero of that story.
Well,
Um,
it's a little bit of a bird walk, but in the 1700s, there was a false prophet in the Jewish community that rose by the name of Sabbatai Devi, and he claimed to be the king of the Jews. And he had a very kind of a Bernie Bro-ish style movement of people that were really behind this guy, and they really yeah, he's the guy, he's the king of the Jews, and he's going to take us to Palestine, and he's going to bring back the kingdom of Israel on earth. And the minute he made that claim, he was no longer just a religious leader, but he was also a secular challenge to political power. So when he made a stop at Constantinople on the way, the mayor of Constantinople basically gave him, which it was a Muslim city at the time, he gave him 3 simple choices. He said, you can either have us put you up on a pike and see if the Lord favors you and pulls you off the pike. We can have our royal archers shoot their arrows at you and see if the Lord favors you and moves the arrows out of the way.
I like my chances.
Or, oh prophet of the Jewish people, you can drop to your knees, convert to Islam right now, and avoid the whole trouble. And so Sabbatai Devi, like any thinking, rational person, dropped to his knees and converted to Islam right then and there. And it destroyed his whole movement. Just it poof, right out from under him. But that just goes to show, like, people are going to do what's best for them to avoid the overarching of authority.
But don't people need the overarching of authority to a certain extent? Like, isn't that why we have a Donald Trump? Isn't that why we deal like 320 or 350 million people? I don't fucking remember how many people we have in this country, but like we all look up to one person to speak for all of us. Like
How's
nobody
that
wants
been
to
work? Hey, everybody, how's
everybody
that been working out for you?
right. Everybody wants to be that guy, but nobody wants to do the work to be that guy.
Yes, that's a good way to put it. But yeah, we're all creatures that are trying to maximize our happiness output while minimizing our misery input and make it to as easy a death as we can possibly find. That's really what it boils down to. And
Well,
so,
that's just fucking sad.
well,
Jesus.
that's the reality of our biological existence on this life.
Ugh. Don't be a therapist, Phil. You wouldn't do a good job.
All right. This Dr. Phil is going to hit you with some real truth. All right. Let me tell you about this dog and fucking pony show we call it.
Let me fucking tell you how it is, kids. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. Any more wise words?
You know, I'm trying to help the world attain greater perfection through Philness, but I think that's enough for this evening, sir.
All right. Should we wrap this bitch up? We've been going hour and a half, 2 hours now.
I believe we shall, as I am known to say around here, folks. All that being said, this has been the live presentation of the Dog and Chicken Show for our constant election coverage. Keep your eyes on this space for all the happenings in politics, the world, all things of interest in this world. We are the channel of record. So you come right here, Dog and Chicken Show, like, share, subscribe. I am signing it off and handing it off to Chicken. I have been and will continue to be your King of Extreme, Phil KOE, the devilishly handsome outlaw himself. Chicken, take it away.
Yeah, no. The only thing I can think of, Phil, when you're going through some of your talk there was the the Greta Thunberg.
How dare you?
So
Yeah, oh man, you gotten a lot of mileage out of that.
yeah, that button is gonna stay on there for a long time. So yeah. Anyway, appreciate you joining in, Phil. Appreciate y'all tuning in. For those stuck with us live, shout out Jeremy. I see you've been on there for a little while, chatting with me on there a little bit. James. So yeah, that's it. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll see y'all next week. We got next round of primaries coming up with Florida, a couple other states. We get some good shit coming up. And see if we can't put this thing to bed. We got debates as well coming up. So
Really?
we'll see.
Yep,
we'll see if Biden takes it by then. If Bernie survives, what?
This is going to be fun. But yeah, keep your eyes on this space for it, folks. We're going to be doing all the election coverages. And also keep your eyes out for March 15th, Andrew Jackson's birthday, our toast to him. That's coming up soon, folks.
Yep, absolutely. All right, that's it. Appreciate y'all. Love you. And love you. Bye, I guess is how I always end this shit. Later, folks.